Hello, and welcome to the crossover, where nothing is out of bounds and everything is fair game. We have a lot to cover with you today, but first, let's check in with the Tunnel Crew. Please give a warm welcome to Stats, Eddie P, Rooftop, TP, and Big T.
What's happening, everybody? And once again, it's time for At Home with the Crossover. I am your man, Big T, alongside my tag team partners, the usual cast of characters, my friends. We're talking about the Tunnel Crew. And we got my man, Bro Mel, is in the house. Mr. Smooth himself, the radio DJ voice. Bro Mel, what is going on?
Oh, man, nothing but the Lord. Praise the Lord.
There you go. Praise him. I love it. I love it. Got Radar Charles in the house. Radar, how are things looking from your side?
They're looking mighty bright if from my angle here. If you was looking from my perspective here.
From your perspective?
My perspective. That's why narrow is the way, Big T, when we come to play. Tag me in, sir. I'm ready to go.
Tag, you're in. All right, and then we got the queen sitting there covering her eyes up, mimicking Radar Charles. First Lady Mama, the doctor, she's in the house. Her name is TP. TP, what's going on?
Everything's going on. Blessings to everyone. Blessings. Praise the Lord.
Blessings on blessings. I love it when she says that. Then we got none other than the Birdman is in the house, representing his Eagles once again. Bird, what is happening, my friend?
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Crash, Eagles, crash.
Yeah.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. You got a ring and we don't. I'm just playing.
Thank you.
I'm just playing. All right. Hey, and together we are the Tunnel Crew, watching everything that happens inside and outside the tunnel, leading to the lines of competition in the world of sports. And tonight, once again, we have a special show planned for you because a while back we did a special interview show where we interviewed two members of the Tunnel Crew. Those members being the Queen, TP, and the Birdman. And we interviewed them. We split the show in half. And we did Birdman for the first half of the show, for the first half of the hour, and TP for the second half of the hour. Well, when we completed that show, all the members of the Tunnel Crew were saying, man, you know what? We really could have done an hour for each person. You know, there was some things that I still wanted to ask, and it was getting so good, we could have done hours. So you know what? We decided, okay, moving forward, we're going to give each member of the Tunnel Crew an hour to be interviewed by the Tunnel Crew. So that means we had to go back and give both Birdman and TP their hour. So we're doing a part 2 of their previous interview where we split it in half, and we're going to do the same format. We're going to give Birdman the first hour, first 30 minutes, first half of the show, and then we're going to give TP the second half. We will have a break after the first segment, and we'll come back and do the second segment, and then we'll have a break, and we'll come back and start to interview TP for the second half of the show. So without further delay, we're going to jump on in here and begin part 2 of the Birdman Tunnel Crew interview. And we'll go ahead and jump on in there. Bird, are you ready to answer the questions?
I'm ready, sir. I'm ready.
You are ready. All right. Well, good, because I think we're all ready to ask. And so we'll go ahead and jump on in there. And I'm going to ask you a question to lead us off. All right, Bird, so we can get on into it. So on part 1 of this interview, we found out why you were an Eagles fan. We found out why you were a Wake Forest fan, but we didn't ask because you also are fanatical and crazy about the Lakers. So we didn't, and no one asked, why is Bird a Laker fan? So we're going to go ahead and jump on in and find out from the Birdman himself. How did you become a Laker fan? What's the reason for you pulling for that sorry team in purple and gold out there on the West Coast? I'm just messing.
You got Joe.
I'm just messing with you.
I want to clear the air. I'm a LeBron fan, so I became a
Oh.
Lakers fan when LeBron went to the Lakers. I followed LeBron's career. I followed Kobe's career. I'm not really like a person per se that has an NBA team that I'll
Okay.
watch all the time. So because LeBron went to LA, I'm at LA because he's there. So.
Oh, so he's a LeBron fan.
Okay. That's a different twist then.
Yeah.
So wherever LeBron go, you go.
You go.
Right.
Hey, so the Orlando Magic are the worst team in the NBA right now. If LeBron went there, you're gonna be a Magic fan.
I will if he goes there.
Wow.
If he went to Golden State, if them rumors were true, I'll trade up.
Wow.
So
Okay.
what is it about LeBron that you like so much?
Yeah, there you go.
I like his leadership skills on the court, on and off the court. And I like what he does, particularly because he did something interesting that caught my eye, because we know we talked about it in part one. He did something recently for the Autism Foundation. And for those of you who don't know, I'm an ambassador for the Piedmont Triad for the Autism Foundation. And he did something that I thought was really interesting. I think he donated some money a couple months back to the Autism Foundation. So I really respect him for that. And I just respect him as a person and as a father.
Okay. All right. Hey, good answer. I like that. Got a lot of respect for the man. Radar, go ahead, sir.
I have a question. What do you think made a bigger impact? Him opening that school in Akron, or his effect on the free agency market and the way players are now able to have more control over their landing spots when it comes to making more money and building their brand?
Hey, Bird.
Which one you think had a bigger impact?
Bird, before you answer that, let me just jump in and say this once again. Man, here go Radar again with the 60 Minutes interview question. No, that was an excellent question. Go ahead, Bird. I'm sorry. That was.
I think it's both for me. I think the school, because they really needed it in that area, but I also think that for him opening that door for free agency, allowing the players to say, "Oh, well, hey, LeBron did it," so he kind of just opened the door, let us all just join in and kind of follow suit, because we know our worth. Back in the day, players just had to play where they were at. They ain't really had no say so back in Michael Jordan's day. They just had to play out their contract regardless of how they felt about their teams. But nowadays, the way the game is now, things have changed, and athletes today, they, like I said, they know their worth. And so if you know your worth as an athlete, you're going to do everything you can to push yourself to be the greatest of all time in that sport. So I think both of them had a major impact.
Okay.
So it sounds to me like you think that, and I could be wrong, so I'll just ask the question. You feel that LeBron is better than Michael Jordan or Bill Russell?
No.
Oh.
No, nowhere near. I mean, I got respect for LeBron, but I also respect the game in general. Now, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. Now, I know there's a lot of people that say LeBron can beat Michael Jordan. He's bigger. He's better. He could do this. He could do that. I'm like, no, he can't. Back in that day, LeBron would have got pushed around. And if you thought that elbow in Detroit was something, he would have got a whole lot worse. Elbows, fists, elbows to the gut, all that. It would have been WWE, NBA.
Wait, can I jump in again here? Wait a minute. Yeah. You just said that you love LeBron. He's more of an ambassador. He's more of what you represent, Birdman. Why would you side with Jordan? Jordan is a machine compared to LeBron. LeBron has connections with the community, much like yourself, sir.
Hey, respect greatness. They both great, but Michael Jordan is a little bit greater.
But Michael Jordan didn't open up a school. Michael Jordan
that's side business though. That's side hustles. We ain't talking about side hustles. We talking about the game.
But he made it to where they were getting ready to make it where you had a 4-year degree to be an agent to combat what LeBron has did in order to open the market for players. That's something that should be right up your alley.
True. But I look at it from player standpoint. Again,
understandable.
Michael Jordan's greater,
Hey,
I
Bird,
got it.
don't listen to him. He trying to sway you, take you off your game, man. Just don't pay him any attention, man. Forget him.
So Bird, let me ask you this question. So when did you really seriously start liking LeBron? When did
Mhm.
you really? Because I'm looking at. I know when he started. I know I was at the Coliseum when he came and played high school at the Coliseum.
Yep.
So I was there when he played at the Greensboro Coliseum. So when was that to you that you took on, the liking of LeBron and supporting LeBron?
Mm.
It was towards the latter part of his career when he first started in Cleveland and he was getting ready to leave for Miami. Like I
Mhm.
said, I followed his career, but I wasn't like love fest LeBron like I am now. Die hard LeBron fan. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, I see LeBron, he balling, I see Carmelo Anthony and all the rest of them balling too. But it was kind of sort of when he was getting ready to leave Cleveland for Miami, I was kind of like, okay, let me give LeBron a chance. Let me see what he's all about. Let me see if he's going to get any better going to this team, because when he was in Cleveland, he didn't really have a lot of pieces around him. That's one thing I didn't like. I mean, you have a player of LeBron's caliber back then when he was coming out, out of high school and stuff, and he's still, young somewhat. He didn't really have the pieces. And LeBron has been getting criticized for trading up teams. He's a ring chaser. He's this, he's that. But I respect LeBron for doing what he has to do, because it goes back to the earlier question that you guys asked. He knows his worth, and a lot of players don't know their worth. I know you got to ride. Some players would argue you got to ride the ship, but I respect LeBron for taking initiative and saying, hey, look, you guys got to put pieces around me. I'm not the team. Cleveland is the team. I'm not the team. I got to have, certain pieces in certain areas around for me to, experiment, play. If y'all want a championship, then I need those certain players around me to help me do that. I can't do it all by myself. And he's been doing that his entire career. He can't do it by himself. So that's when I really started liking LeBron towards his latter careers.
So let me ask you this. So I'm hearing that he went to Miami, and there's nothing wrong with what he did. He went to Miami to really help his game.
Mm-hmm.
He still wasn't developed at that time. So hearing what you're saying, he went to Miami to help develop his game with other players that he was playing with. He didn't want to be not saying the number one player, but he needed support. He needed that extra support to be able to be the person that he is now. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I was gonna say, Birdman, I feel like, and I mean, we want to get back to most of your interests, but I feel like that is where that year of college would have helped him, what Carmelo had that LeBron did not, because you learn how to work within the team in order to strive to get there. And then it's not about putting these pieces together. It's about working with what you have. And I think that's where the advantage is that Michael Jordan had, Carmelo had, and some of those other players, because like Bromell, I also saw LeBron play at Temple University when I was there. I met him briefly, just hello, kept going, because I worked at Temple for a while there as a volunteer. So, I really feel like that college aspect was there. And, I just feel like that was involved with a team. I did want to ask you real quick, can you talk to us about what are you currently doing right now since you have completed school? I see we have a minute left, but yes, just quickly, what's your title and what you do?
Well, right now I'm working at Bojangles, but I'm trying to get my music and stuff off the ground. That's my ultimate goal. So I'm trying to start up my own studio from other artists around the area so I can help them and push them to where they need to be and give them the tools that they need for their music career.
Okay. Radar, I know it's 30 seconds. If you want to throw your question out there and we can come back on the other side.
Definitely in line with that. Absolutely. I wanted to ask him, does he feel like LeBron's story relates to his story as when he joined us with the crossover crew. Because he
Hey,
was fresh out of college.
Hey, hold that thought, Bird, because we're up against a commercial break. But when we come back, we will refresh the audience on what Radar asked. So keep that thought in mind, and then we'll let you answer that question. Hey, you're listening to a special edition of At Home with the Crossover as we interview the Birdman and the Queen, and you'll get more of that when we come back from the break.
What's so sad when the joy is here? What's the answer? Joy in the morning, the crossover. You can find them all right here on 100.7 WLJF. There's no need to be down when there's plenty of joy to go around. Get your daily dose and turn that frown upside down. Love and Faith Radio, 100.7 WLJF, the joy.
My name is Priscilla Van. I'm with Hometown Insurance Service. I'm an independent insurance agent that specializes in Medicare, senior solutions, life, and health. I work with dozens of companies so that I can offer you the appropriate coverage as well as the affordable price for your insurance needs. If I can help you, please contact me at my website, hometowninsuranceservice.com, or email me at hometown.inservice, or you can find me on Facebook at Hometown Insurance Service. Thank you.
Times are changing. We all have questions about the future. Join us as we find the answers through the Word of God.
Love and Faith Christian Fellowship invites you to join our congregation. One church, 2 locations, Greensboro and Kernersville.
We're helping people on their path to find God as we provide spiritual leadership and growth through diverse ministry.
Celebrating over 25 years of ministry. Join our Love and Faith community where Jesus Christ is Lord and the people are loved.
Hey, welcome back to this special edition of At Home with the Crossover, where we're interviewing, doing part 2 of our Birdman and T.P. interviews. And you can catch At Home with the Crossover Tuesday nights live on YouTube. 7 p.m. is the time. The Love and Faith Radio YouTube channel is the place. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and tell all your friends about it. Then on Thursday nights, you can catch the audio version of the original Crossover Sports Show. You can find it online also at WLJFradio.com. You can also download the WLJF app. You can find it in Google Play and the iTunes Store. All right, let's jump back into the Birdman portion of the special interview show. And Radar, you asked a question right before the break for Birdman. So I'm going to go ahead and let you refresh the audience memory on what you asked, and then let the bird answer.
Absolutely. Yes, Birdman, I wanted to ask you if you really have embraced this role that you have with our team, just like LeBron had to go down to Miami. I feel like when you joined us back in November of 2019, that you were coming in like you knew a lot, but you hadn't been exposed to a lot yet. So I wanted to ask you if you really understand where you're at now with the team versus where you used to be. Because I think sometimes I understand where you're at mentally, but I wonder if you're starting to appreciate it more. Because now I see a new boldness in you that I didn't see back in November. And now I'm seeing it in you, and I'm wondering if you appreciate it now. Are you able to celebrate it, if you will?
Yeah, I am able to embrace it. And it just goes back to kind of touching off my disability. One thing about people like me that have my disability is, you know, we don't really like to interact with a whole bunch of people. But when we do like to interact with people, once we get to know you more and we hang around you more, then we'll really start to open up. So what you're seeing now is really Birdman is opening up to you guys more because he trusts you more. He trusts the God in each and every one of you more, you know. And when I first came in, like you said, in November of 2019, I was, you know, nervous. I knew stuff, but I didn't get the big head because I was, you know, I had my music business degree at the time. or because I came out of doing Sunday service, like, oh, I'm good. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just take over. I'm going to do the sound. I'm going to be the best sound person I can be. I always came in, like Pastor Thomas says, there's always somebody better than you at whatever you do. So I always came in with that mentality. So over time, I kind of embraced that role over time. And with the help of Christ, Jesus Christ, I just embraced it and just roll with it. And I appreciate you guys for allowing me, this autistic person, to come in and help y'all do this, even though y'all didn't need me before when 2018, when y'all first started this. But I appreciate the opportunity and the many blessings that come through doing the show, because this is my happy place. This is my safe haven. A lot of stuff goes on throughout the week, and I'm happy when Tuesday gets around, because this is where I can let off some steam, and let off some of that, stress and stuff going on through life.
Hey, let me tell you, Bird, who you said we didn't need you. I'm gonna tell you somebody who would disagree and say, oh yeah, we definitely need it. Radar Charles, because he used to be the sound engineer, board man, and everything. And back in those days, you hardly heard from the guy. I mean, he would chime in every now and then, and so now he's become more of a full-fledged member of the Tunnel Crew, and he owes that to you. Go ahead and tell him, Radar, how much you appreciate him for that.
You know what? I'm gonna make this quick. I at first, bro, Mel, I was like, man, who does this guy think he is, trying to come in here and take my job, right? and then God had to talk with me after the show. He said, hey, dummy, hey, come here. I'm trying to get you more airtime, so you can talk if you let that go. I said, oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself, Jesus. Excuse me. Thank you for telling me that. I almost shot myself in the foot.
Yeah.
So I started showing him what he needed to do so I could talk a little bit more. And to God be the glory, his humble spirit showed me how to teach, how to share, and how to be quiet. Because I had to show him how I had to sit back and wait my turn before I started speaking. And I told him how it taught me what to say, how it showed me when to say it.
Yeah.
So thank you, Birdman, for not only showing me what your gifts were, but also showing me what my next season was.
There you go.
God be the glory.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of go back towards what you said that you're doing now. You're helping other people. So how are you, or should I say, where are you kind of making your music and sharing it with others who's in the same field as yourself?
Well, where I'm making my music at is right here, where you guys see me at, this area. Everything is done in this area, in my room. Right now, all my money, all my funds, I'm trying to invest it in anything music, whether it's new equipment, whether I'm trying to invest in like a building, because that's my ultimate goal, is to have my own little space. Like it don't even have to be a big old building. It could be like a shed and stuff. As far as helping people out, I've talked to people at work. They come over here and record and stuff, and I talk to my parents, because this is still, their house. I got to run everything by them, because I don't just bring anybody in here, so I still have to run everything by them. But as far as getting my music out there and stuff, I just help them get it out there on YouTube and tell them there's a lot of, ins and outs in this business. Don't nobody want to hear another Eminem or another Drake. And I try to explain that to them. Be you, rap about what you know, sing about what you know. Don't rap about all this craziness and stuff, and you ain't never done it in your lifetime. Because that, even though that sells in music, that doesn't really get you anywhere. It may get you some money, it may get you success and notoriety, but it don't really get the listener. Like, okay, I hear what you're saying, I get you, but I don't get you, because 1 minute you're in your music talking about this, but I know you. What if that person knows you? So I try to teach them, like, what if that person knows you and you're rapping and talking about, all this foolishness and stuff that you never did? They're going to expose you one way or another. So that's the one way I help people out in their music, and tell them, you don't have to say anything derogatory or anything profane. to get your point across. There's other words in the dictionary, vocabulary that you could say to get your point across. I really try to push them to rap about God, rap clean. You know, you don't got to say nothing derogatory about no girl. If you're gonna rap about a girl or something, to rap about the girl that you got. Don't, you know, rap about all of this.
Okay. I just thought about what you said. If you get a chance, look up Makerspace. Okay, you ever heard of Makerspace?
No, I haven't.
Okay, look up Makerspace. That's sort of new going out, that people sort of have this space that you can come in if they have, say, like you talking about a music studio. They may have a music studio, but you come in and you may go in and rent it out for a certain amount of time to do what you need to do. So that's something new that's going, is out and about. You know, it's called Makerspace because what people are doing is that they're going in and they see something that they like, they're going in and rent that space out to come in and do what they need to do instead of putting all the investment into it. That may give you an opportunity to build your, you know, your funds to be able to do it, you know, like you wanted to do it until you get to that point. But just, and like I say, just look up Makerspace. I know it's one here in Greensboro. As I think it's called The Force. It's called The Force right there up in South Eugene Street, where they just renovated that whole big building. There's like a glass building, you know, there. I think the place is called Force, which is a makerspace place that people come in, you know, and do tours. But that's what it looks like. So, you know, that may be something you may be interested in.
Yeah,
you know?
hey, that sounds good.
And real quick, they got one in High Point they just built called the Cauldron Yards off of Martin Luther King Drive, going towards the High Point Rockets Stadium.
Okay.
Very similar to what they got going on down there at Revolution Mills too, bro, Mel. Very nice.
Well, that's close to where I stay then.
Yeah. And that's just looking with what you want. You know, if you pull up Makerspace and what you do, then you may be able to make some hits and see where is the closest place, you know, around here that does that. But, you know, that would be helpful. You know, I believe it would be helpful if you look into it. But I had a question as well, is that, and I know you had talked about your little brother some on the show. So my thing is, what lessons have you shared with your brother concerning sports? Since he is, you know, in the sports, baseball at that.
Well,
or have you, you know?
I have talked to him, and I told him the one most important thing at his age is that winning is not everything. And I know that's kind of cliche, but I want him to understand that winning is not everything. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That's one of the biggest things. When he first started playing sports, because he started playing with football and basketball before he got into baseball, and he would always be on the bench, you know, because around Little League, they like to rotate everybody out. He'd be on the bench, he'd sit there, he'd be a little bit upset. I'd be like, no, you can't really be upset because they got to play everybody. I know you want your chance to shine, so you got to be humble and wait for that opportunity to shine. Wait for that moment. Wait for your opportunity. And once he took my advice to heart, he did have some moments. They ended up going to the championship. They lost the championship in football, but because he had his shining moments that helped him get there to where he needed to be. And it's all because I had gave him that guidance as a big brother role model, to say, hey, look, you could do anything you put your mind to, and you could do anything if you put God first.
Hey, Bird, I'm going to jump in right quick. I want to ask you a quick question. What is your favorite sport and why?
Football. And the reason why is because I grew up in a football family. My dad actually, before he had his knee, he played, because we were stationed in Watertown, New York. Stationed down there. He was playing for the minor league team down there. They always made the championship, but they always lost. They could never get over that hump for some reason. But I just remember him telling me the story about how he tried out for the Canadian Football League, but because he didn't go to college, you know, they said he was a good player, but he didn't go to college. He didn't have no college credentials, so they couldn't use him on the team. But he really ended his career when he got injured, a knee injury in practice.
Okay.
And so I just fell in love with it ever since.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, man, hey, just like we talked about the first time, because it seemed like we could have went on for another hour. We might have to do 2 hours. I'm just kidding. But that wraps up the Birdman portion of this special interview show. And you can catch At Home with the Crossover on Tuesday nights on YouTube. Go to the Love and Faith Radio YouTube channel. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Catch it live on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Then on Thursday nights at 7 p.m., catch the audio version, the original Crossover Sports Show. You can find it also online at WLJFradio.com. You can also download the WLJF app, and you can find it on Google Play and in the iTunes Store. When we come back, it'll be time to interview Mama.
Why so sad when the joy is here? What's the answer? Joy in the morning, the crossover. You can find them all right here on 100.7 WLJF. There's no need to be down when there's plenty of joy to go around. Get your daily dose and turn that frown upside down. Love and Faith Radio, 100.7 WLJF, the joy.
My name is Priscilla Van. I'm with Hometown Insurance Service. I'm an independent insurance agent that specializes in Medicare, senior solutions, life and health. I work with dozens of companies so that I can offer you the appropriate coverage as well as the affordable price for your insurance needs. If I can help you, please contact me at my website, hometowninsuranceservice.com, or email me at hometown.inservice, or you can find me on Facebook at Hometown Insurance Service. Thank you.
Times are changing. We all have questions about the future. Join us as we find the answers through the Word of God.
Love and Peace Christian Fellowship invites you to join our congregation. One church, 2 locations, Greensboro and Kernersville.
We're helping people on their path to find God as we provide spiritual leadership and growth through diverse ministry.
Celebrating over 25 years of ministry, join our Love and Faith community where Jesus Christ is Lord and the people are loved.
All right, welcome back to this special edition of At Home with the Crossover, where we are interviewing, doing a part 2 of our Birdman and T.P. interview. We already did part 1 a while back. Now we're doing part 2. And we did Birdman in the first half of the show. We're going to do T.P. now. But first, I just want to let you know you can catch the live at home edition of the Crossover Tuesday night, 7 p.m. You can find it on YouTube at 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights. And Love and Faith Radio YouTube channel is the page. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about the show. Tune in every week, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on YouTube. Then on Thursday nights, 7 p.m., catch the audio version of the original Crossover Sports Show. You can find it online at WLJFradio.com. And you can also download the 100.7 WLJF app. You can find it on Google Play and in the iTunes Store. All right, it is time, without further ado, to do our part 2 interview of the Queen, Mama, First Lady, the Doctor, the Entrepreneur, the Dancer. I told you, Radar, I was going to add a new nickname, and we added the Dancer.
Hey, bro, man, did you sign off on that? I don't remember signing off on that one.
We're talking about none other than TP is in the house. TP, it's time for part 2 of your interview. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
You are ready. Okay, well, I'm going to lead us off like I have done with the previous beginnings of these interviews. And I'm just going to start by asking you this. Bill Russell, you know, you've talked in the past about, you know, how much he's meant to you. In fact, on the day he passed away, we got a text in our group thread, and it was from the Queen saying, Bill Russell has passed away. I don't know about anybody else, but that was the first time I heard it. And I immediately, you know, went to Google and pulled it up and then turned on ESPN, and there it was. So yeah, she was the breaking news for me on the Bill Russell passing. So my question for you is, how did his passing impact you and affect you?
Wow. So how Bill Russell's passing affected me was actually as a fan of his, but also as of his in the sport, but also as a fan of him, of course, breaking color barriers. I think more so is because when I went to grad school at Temple University and learning more about my craft in sports and recreation, but mainly in sports management, to see and to hear a lot about the sacrifices that a lot of people had to go through in order to open the doors for us. I mean, we've seen, I can't even remember the movie. I know it's not Glory, but the movie that had to do with the five that played against Kentucky.
I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but
I can't think of the name of it either, but the point is, Bill Russell brings me back to that type of experience.
Was it Glory Road?
That was probably Glory.
I think it was Glory Road.
Yes. So when I really think about that, that's what connects me. Also, my parents, I used to sit around a lot as a child, listening to my mom and my dad talk about how they used to walk with Martin Luther King, how they used to, protest and stuff a lot. And I can relate that a lot to Bill Russell as far as the same thing within sports. So that's how, for me, I relate to him also because of the rings. Those rings from that day compared to now. Back then, you didn't see flopping. You didn't see. I mean, I can't even think if it's if they had the 3-point line at that time. One time they had it, next time they took it out. Okay, thank Bromell. So they didn't. But it's just to know that, I mean, he really set the standard as far as a player who also coached. And that is not easy, being an African-American male, to do on a team, to dominate and to get the ring.
Yeah.
And to me, that speaks volumes, because now when you see players doing it, they don't stick with their team. They complain a lot. They always want to get up in a referee's face. And you did not do that. Yeah. But I also, just again, reading up on some things with Bill Russell about what he had to deal with on the other side of sports, when his family was talking about how they were threatened all the time, house almost being burnt down. So as you can tell, I can go on about it, but it really relates a lot to those experiences that I learned in school and also through my parents.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew he meant a lot to you, because I mean, you've talked about him on a couple of occasions on the show and mentioned him. So, when you sent that text out and, and then, I thought about, how that had to impact you. And I said, you know what, I'm going to ask her that when we do our question and answer show. So,
and, I think if I was here the week before he passed, I think that I probably would have been a little bit more emotional about it.
Yeah. All right.
Anybody have any questions for me?
I have a question, TP. So, by you, I know you sports oriented. Sort of similar to what I asked Bird, but for your son, okay, what have you gotten him involved? Have he's been exposed to some of the things that you have done dealing with sports? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
That's a good question. My son is actually a swimmer. When my son was younger, I put him into basketball. He didn't quite like it. And I put him into soccer. He said, Mom, I don't think I'm very good at it. And I was like, no, you're very good. My son is more of the opposite of me. He's in some things, he's actually more of an artist. I was more of a athlete. He is what we realize is my son likes to be in control. So if you realize those sports and basketball and soccer and everything, he can't control the tempo, but in swimming, he can. And I've been swimming since he was 3. So we often call him the next Michael Phelps, but we just say at the same time, you're going to be yourself. And that's just because he's so tall. Most of my viewers don't know, but I'm 5'7", and my son is already 5'4", 5'5", and he's 12. Just turned 12. So he's grown a whole lot in the last year. I can't even buy a whole lot of clothes because he's just growing out of them. Yes, and he's predicted to be 6'8". So we will see.
Whoa.
Yes, he's predicted to be 6'8", and he's on the path because he hasn't even
6'8".
Yes.
Whoa.
So, you know, I do try to relate a lot with him with sports, but at the same time, I definitely want him to embrace art, which is what he wants to do. So I try to relate that to sports as well, whether it's the strokes and paint, and just try to see the artistry and beauty within sports, and to let him know, never count yourself out. Don't let people tell you what you can't do. It might not be on a professional path, but you can do the sport. So
yeah, and sometimes sports is not for everybody, and that. And I was really, asking a question because it doesn't necessarily mean that because we play sports, then our kids gonna play sports. And sometimes, I just see that a lot. People just assume and think, and it doesn't. That may not be their niche, But whatever that is, then we're there to support them. And because I'm a firm believer, sports is not everything. It can get you the way you want to get to, but it's not everything. You got to have something to fall back on. You have to have something more in your brain than shooting the basketball or tackling somebody. Because when them days over with, what you gonna do then?
I totally agree, and that's it's really one of the reasons why when he just said, "Hey, this isn't quite my thing," I was fine with that. I was really fine. I said, "Okay, I'm gonna tell you." I remember signing him up for karate. Everybody kind of wants their child to be able to defend themselves. I signed him up for karate. He did his little practice test lesson, that you do before you get your uniform. That'd be your first official day. Let me tell y'all. You buy the uniform, and they said, "Okay, you'll come to your first class." So we put the uniform on, we went home, we took a couple of pictures, put them on Facebook, and came to the very first class. And my son sees all the kids over there, and he's about 4. And I said, "Okay, son, you have to take off your socks." "I don't want to take off my socks." "Take off your socks." He said, "I don't want to take off my socks." I mean, I was getting to the point, I was like, "Look, you need to take off your socks." And he said, "I want to take off my socks." So guess what happened? He never went through with the first class. So I paid for we never used. They sat there, and I ended up giving it away. But that was the end of our karate. It was just a one class. For the class, we came in for the class. Everybody was there, all the kids, and he never took off his socks, and that was mandatory for you to do. So he never did karate. So I said, okay, he's not going to be a sports person. Not much into sports, but something about swimming he just loved, and I don't force it on him, but I'm definitely there to support him. So some nights when you don't see me here, I'm definitely there supporting him.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. All right, Radar, I know you got something to ask.
Yes, I do. And her comment just led me to my question. I wanted to ask her, has there ever been a moment where you've had with your son that reminded you of almost like deja vu with your mom, the way she had to do with you? Because when I was helping you out at the farmer's market and I saw her work with her son and then her mom working with her, I was almost like startled because it was like, wait a minute, did your mama just do to you what you just did to your son? And I could tell TP was kind of getting like, boy, if you don't do what I just told you to do. And then he popped into it. He just did it. And I was like, okay. And then when her mom was trying to get her to do something, she said, Radar, I don't know why she always trying to get me to do this. She know I don't like it. And I was a bit like, Don't you say nothing, Radar. Don't you take sides. And then as soon as her mom said, TP, you know what's good for you, TP snapped out of it and just started going into motion and started pushing her product and letting people know who she is and what she represented. So I'm asking you, with your mom, do you see more of her in you the way you have to work with your Shay?
Yes, definitely.
And you told me one time that you didn't think you could use the things that she used with you because you thought it was so abrasive, but now you've learned how to soften it up.
That's the difference. I have a mom who will tell you, I'm going to tell you one time and one time only. My mother is not a yeller. Believe it or not, I'm not a yeller, only when I was in cheerleading. I'm not one to yell. I do get aggressive, but I'm not one to yell. I'm one that I know what I want to do. And when my mind is made up, I'm going to go for it. And I don't need anything to the left. I don't need anything to the right. I believe I'm more impulsive than my mother. That a lot comes from my job when I was an executive director. You didn't have a lot of time to sit and make decisions sometimes when it came to children. It's, when you're dealing with the most precious gift. Now, when it came time for things like exactly what you said, I do see my mom in me when it comes to certain things, like especially dealing with boys. When I tell my son something, I tell him all the time that how many, I'm not gonna tell you but one time. But I also have to kind of pull back exactly what you said, which is I have to pull back a little bit and say, okay, do I feel like my son really heard what I said? Because there are times that, as we know, kids like to be on the iPad or anything like that. So when I talk to my son, a lot of times I try to make the eye contact and say it one time. Versus my mother's the type, she gonna tell you one time, you didn't hear anything she said, you're probably picking yourself up off the floor. So we have to, a lot of times when we make eye contact, we remind each other of that sometimes. And my mother does have that grandma thing where it's like, oh, he's gonna be okay. Just give him a little time, training. Yeah.
I like that because you took that same role with Stats and Birdman too. I could tell you were doing that with them when we were in studio and when we were doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So I salute you for taking on that role with us.
Being a mama.
Being a mama. Hey, that's where she got the nickname from. Hey, everybody, be sure to catch our live at home edition of The Crossover. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. YouTube is the place, the Love and Faith YouTube radio channel in particular. And 7 p.m. is the time. Be sure to tell all your friends about it, like, share, and subscribe. Then on Thursday nights, catch the audio version of the original Crossover Sports Show. You can listen to it online at WLJFradio.com. You can also download the 100.7 WLJF app. It can be found on Google Play and in the iTunes store. When we come back, we're going to wrap up our part 2 interview with the Queen, the First Lady, Mama, the Doctor, TP. And you'll find that on the other side of the break. You're listening to a special edition of At Home with the Crossover.
Why so sad when the joy is here? What's the answer? Joy in the morning, the crossover. You can find them all right here on 100.7 WLJF. There's no need to be down when there's plenty of joy to go around. Get your daily dose and turn that frown upside down. Love and Faith Radio, 100.7 WLJF, the joy.
My name is Priscilla Van. I'm with Hometown Insurance Service. I'm an independent insurance agent that specializes in Medicare, senior solutions, life, and health. I work with dozens of companies so that I can offer you the appropriate coverage as well as the affordable price for your insurance needs. If I can help you, please contact me at my website, hometowninsuranceservice.com, or email me at hometown.inservice, or you can find me on Facebook at Hometown Insurance Service. Thank you.
Times are changing. We all have questions about the future. Join us as we find the answers through the Word of God.
Love and Faith Christian Fellowship invites you to join our congregation. One church, 2 locations, Greensboro and Kernersville.
We're helping people on their path to find God as we provide spiritual leadership and growth through diverse ministry.
Celebrating over 25 years of ministry. Join our Love and Faith community where Jesus Christ is Lord and the people are loved.
It's time now for the crossover wrap-up report. Let's send it back to the Tunnel Crew.
All right, welcome back to this special edition of At Home with the crossover as we are interviewing TP, the First Lady, the doctor, mama, the entrepreneur, the dancer. She is all those things and more. And we have been interviewing her, part 2 of our interview with her. And we're going to wrap it up here in just a few short minutes. Hey, I'm going to do rapid fire with you right quick, all right?
Okay, let's go.
All right, rapid fire. Beach or the swimming pool?
Beach.
Okay. Winter or summer?
Summer.
All right. Money and wealth or security and love?
Security and love.
There you go. All right. Hey, go ahead,
I got
Radar.
one, Big G. I got one. Aggies or Bulldogs?
Aggies all the way. Aggies,
Go on, Big G. I just had to
No. That was it. That was all I had. Rapid fire. All right. Hey, anybody else got a question for TP?
So TP, not knowing. So, what drew you to the Tunnel Crew show?
Wow. So what happened was I was at church and me and Brother Smalls was actually talking about trying to put on a league for toddlers. We were trying to put on a league for toddlers, and I kind of put up a little sketch and drew it out, gave it to him. And we happened to be talking one day right in front of the church, you know, when you first walk in right there by the banister. And Sister Linda came behind him, and I'm not gonna lie, I remember Sister Linda's name, but I didn't quite know that was Sister Linda. She happened to come behind us as I was giving him the information. And we were talking, and he asked me about LeBron. And Sister Linda heard us talking about LeBron, and we were just having a great conversation, and I didn't think anything of it. And then months later, Sister Linda remembered that, and I guess that's when the church had decided that they wanted to have a radio show. And Sister Linda said that she remembered me. She remembered I used to work for the NBA. She remembered hearing what I said about LeBron. And sure enough, when she called me, I was in the midst of some personal things going on, but at the same time, trust me, I endured. And I remember my father had to bring me there because I had to have surgery. So my father had to bring me to the studio, and that was the first day. And that's what brought me into the show. And I've been there ever since.
Queen, I know you probably saw me kind of chuckling a little bit or trying to hold back, because I'm watching over in this top right-hand corner of the screen. All I see is this man eating, chugging away on look like milk or something. You know, I'm like, good grief, man. Oh man, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, can I say something?
Yeah.
Bro Mel, when I first started doing the show, I was looking for transportation to the show. And TP, I didn't know TP had just had surgery. And she was willing to come pick me up from work and make sure I get to the radio station / church. And I was just like, what? You had what type of surgery? And she was coming 2 days. Bro, man, we was doing Tuesday production meetings, and then we were recording every Thursday to get into the swing of things. And TP came faithfully like a soldier. And I'm up here sitting up here looking at her like Pippen. No, excuse me. Yeah, Pippen looking at Jordan like, okay, you good, right? I know you say you got the flu, but you ain't acting like you got the flu.
Yeah.
You showing up every day. And to me, that showed me how dedicated TP was. And now I'm up here trying to say, okay, let me show my dedication. If she's coming and she's just had that type of procedure,
Mm-hmm.
and the support she has, even though she doesn't have the traditional model.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted her to tell me if her parents were the cornerstones of her life, because for her to be the person who she is, you have to have some type of consistency in your life. And I'm giving you the floor, TP. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that.
They definitely are. My parents they were entrepreneurs, and they run Missionaries to the Nations. They run their own nonprofit missionary organization. So they are actually missionaries, and they're not members of our church, but they come faithfully because, as we all know, missions is also on our pastor's heart as well. You know, Radar, a lot of people probably don't remember that, but you know, when I came, I knew that I had a year of recovery. I mean, I know TMI, but I couldn't feel anything from the waist down as far as being able to suck in your stomach, or I hate to say your poops or anything like that. I couldn't really do that. But the biggest thing I think that people forgot was, and Brother Percy probably knows this too, when I would arrive, I had to get help out the car. So it was always Rooftop, who would always show up around the same time that I did, and he would help me get out the car. And then I would see you, and then I would see the others. So a lot of people probably don't remember that, but for about 3 or 4 months, I couldn't get out the car. I just endured it to get out the car. And sometimes I would just do my best. So you're right. That was a moment that I just refused to let pain take over. I knew it was a ministry, and I felt like I had to be there. I felt like if Jesus can definitely make it, and this is a ministry, then I wanted to be there. My parents definitely set that pathway that you show up, and you show up on time, and you be there. So being late was never an option. Not coming was never an option. So yeah, I had to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Bird, you got a question for TP?
I did, but it's kind of like a joking question, but it's also kind of serious because when I first came on, she called the station. She was like, "Who is this man talking about the Eagles?"
Yeah.
Sure
and
did.
Since then, I've been trying to figure out to myself how we hit it off, how we flow off of each other since then. And that's a serious question, because I was just honored to be in front of you guys. I didn't think we would hit it off.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna tell you this. I think what it is it's going back to exactly what Big T said, and it's my part of my personality, and it goes back to what Radar says. If you ever met my parents, especially if you met my mom, and you see the work that I have done in Boys and Girls Club, I have always been like a big aunt or a mom. So that's always been my personality. Yeah.
Well, hey, everybody, it has been a blast. It's been fun to do this part 2 of the Birdman TP interview. And hey, I feel like everybody said, we could have went on longer, but that's the way it is. Hey, for the Queen.
Blessings.
For Radar.
That was the way.
For Birdman.
Whosoever believe in him.
For Bromel.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
I'm your man, Big T, signing off and saying, no matter where you are, look up and know that your creator is there. Until next time, see ya, and we might want to be.
60-minute questions.
That's all we have for you today. So be sure to join us next week for the crossover. And remember, the Tunnel Crew don't play unless we have something to say.